you are being limited by your environment, and you're probably not even aware of it. Because your environment is a reflection of your past. It's a reflection of who you used to be, of your old self. And especially if you have a goal that you're aiming for, or a commitment that you're working towards, or an intention that you're aligning with, then your environment becomes one of the most important aspects of your life, of your reality, because it's going to be constantly reflecting back to you who you were, who you no longer wish to be, and of all the things that you've done which are now no longer in alignment with what you're creating. And so you see, that's why environment and all of its subtleties and all of its aspects becomes quite possibly the number one thing outside of your own mindset, outside of your own state of being, to align. And within environment, there are many different things. Of course, there's the direct surroundings, your home, your rooms, your spaces, your office, the different places that you frequent on a daily basis. It also includes the things within those environments, the items that you've purchased, the things that you interact with and use on a daily basis. But it also includes your relationships, both the relationships you have to those things and those places, but also the relationships you have with the people that either are in those spaces with you or that come into and interact with you in those spaces. And so there are a few different ways to align your environment and the aspects within your environment. The first way is to change it, to change your environment, to change what's in your environment. The second is to change your relationship to the things in your environment, change your relationship to the environment. And the third is to maybe remove yourself, which is sort of an in-between. You come into a new way of seeing your relationship to the environment, and then you make a change. In the first case, let's say you have an untidy house, right? Or an untidy room. You can change that by cleaning it up. That will be in alignment with the version of you who you want to be. A tidy space is a tidy mind, and that is a affirmation, a reminder that you are committed to what you say you're going to do, to what you say you want to create. Maybe there are people in your environment who have a different view, have a different opinion, and that's okay. People are entitled to their own opinions, but that doesn't need to affect you. You are able to inform those around you to the extent that you discern and deem appropriate, to inform them as to what you prioritize, to what you're committed to. And that is your responsibility, to change your environment in such a way that it's in accordance with your priorities, with your commitments, with your intention. You don't need to prove anything, you don't need to convince anyone, but you can just directly inform your environment and those within it as to what you're committed to. Or you can change your relationship to your environment. Maybe you live in a space that's not necessarily conducive, but you don't really see any way to change it. Maybe you can't move out. Maybe you can't change anything within it that would be more in line with your preference. But maybe there's something about the way you're perceiving it. Maybe there's something that you're believing about it, which is actually just not true or not in alignment with the way that you want to live, with what you want to create. So in that case, you can just change your belief about it, change your perception of it. You can alter your relationship to it. And therefore, you don't even need anything within your circumstance or in your environment to change. You have literally changed your relationship to it, and therefore have freed yourself from the limitations that you were creating before. So as you start to align your space like this, as you start to align your relationship to your environment, you start to create a positive feedback loop. You start to allow yourself to be reminded of what you're committed to. You start to allow yourself to be positively influenced by the things that you've placed in your environment, not out of unconscious choice, but out of conscious choice. And now, every time you walk into your room and it's clean and everything's organized and the people around you already understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. They don't necessarily need to agree. They don't need to be your number one fan. But if they understand and you've communicated honestly, openly, now everything about your life and reality is on board with your commitment, with your goal, with your intention. And so in a way, you've cleared out any lingering interferences, which that usually lead to this typical, classic challenge that creeps up, which presents itself as self-doubt, usually. It's sort of this next day doubt, right? We've all experienced it. It's this euphoria, this inspiration, this motivation to change everything about our life and become all that we want to be. And we prepare everything and we are ready to go. And then the next day we are swept off our feet with doubt and insecurity and confusion and frustration, and we almost just want to give up. But this activity, this practice of improving, upgrading, elevating your environment to be in alignment with your commitment is one of the most powerful ways to reaffirm to yourself, to reflect yourself and remind yourself in those moments of doubt why you're doing what you're doing. And so when you walk into your house or your office, or when you walk up to your partner or your friend, and you're already in a state of doubt, those things, those people have now an opportunity to reflect to you your aim, to uplift you, to elevate you back into the state that you were in when you decided to commit in the first place. And so rather than walking into a room which is messy, into a relationship which you've not communicated to, who's just going to remind you of why you're failing, of why you're not worthy, all of these things are going to be reflecting the old version of you which was not committed, which was not confident, which didn't have faith. But now that you've infused your environment with that conviction, with that faith, with that alignment, now you get the gift that keeps on giving. You see, when you invest in your environment, when you invest in your relationships, you get the dividend, you get the return on that investment, which is going to propel you forward. And that is the beauty of taking that state of being, that consciousness, and spreading it around you in your environment. And if you want a model to implement, which is going to take this idea of aligning your environment, it's a part of this alignment masterclass that I've created. And it's a free 3-step model which will walk you through the clarity of what it is that you're aiming for, the alignment in terms of your habits and your environment and your relationships, to clean up and clear out everything that's going to be interfering so that that vision can manifest in your life. And it's all free. So just comment limitless down below and I'll share that with you for free. And this is going to be something that we're talking about a lot more in the new community that I've opened up here on YouTube. And what better way to align your life and to be reinforced and reminded of the positive way forward, the goal, the aspiration that you're striving towards, than being in an environment of like-minded people who are all aiming for something similar in their own way, but with a similar intention, with a similar quality of being. And that is placing yourself in an environment that's conducive to achieving, to realizing what it is that you want. And so you can check the link in the caption below if you want to learn more about the tiers of that community. And again, comment limitless down below and I'll send you the free masterclass so you can implement that today.